Hey, 42 here. I want to tell you a story. Some of it is true. Some of it is dramatized. But every fact I'm about to give you, every number, every name, every document, is real. And by the end, I'm going to tell you exactly which parts are nothing, and which parts are actually terrifying. Let's go. Part 1. The File Drop. It's May 8th, 2026. A Tuesday. Somewhere in a government building in Washington, D.C., someone presses a button, and 162 classified files about UFOs appear on the internet. No press conference. No warning. No senator standing at a podium. Just a URL. .gov/UFO. Go look. I'm gonna call this guy Marcus. He's not real. But he could be. Marcus is a retired Air Force intelligence analyst. 28 years. He spent his career telling people that UFOs were weather balloons and sensor glitches. And then one Tuesday morning, he opens his laptop. And there they are. The files. Marcus knows what's in classified files. He's written hundreds of them. So when he starts reading, he knows exactly what he's looking for. He's not looking for aliens. He's looking for the thing governments always hide. Not the truth. The reason they're hiding it. He starts with File 1. A routine drone sighting over the Pacific. Unremarkable. File 2. A radar return off the coast of Virginia. Flag. .rd. He keeps reading. By File 47, his hands are shaking. Not because of what it says. Because of what it doesn't say. Part 2. The 5 things. Before I tell you what Marcus found, you need to understand something called the 5 observables. This is real. These are the 5 characteristics that the US military uses to classify something as genuinely anomalous. Not a drone. Not a balloon. Something else. Anti-gravity lift. The object moves without wings, without rotors, without any visible means of propulsion. 2. Sudden and instantaneous acceleration. It goes from 0 to hypersonic in a fraction of a second. No G-force. No sonic boom. 3. Faster. Hypersonic velocity. Speeds above Mach 5 without the plasma trail that any object moving that fast should produce. 4. Low observability. It shows up on some sensors and not others. Radar can see it. Infrared can see it. The naked eye sometimes can't. 5. Speed. Transmedium travel. It moves through air, then water, then air again, without slowing down, without changing shape. When you see all 5 of these in a single sighting, that is when trained military personnel start using words they don't normally use. Marcus found a case with all 5. Part 3. The Princeton. November 10th, 2004. The USS Princeton is a Ticonderoga-class guided missile cruiser. She's equipped with the most advanced radar system the US Navy has. The Spy One. It can track a golf ball from 200 miles away. For 2 weeks, the Princeton's radar operators have been watching something strange. Objects descending from 80,000 feet to sea level. In less than a second. Then hovering. Then gone. Every day. For 2 weeks. The operators filed reports. The reports went up the chain. Nothing came back down. Then they scrambled jets. Commander David Fravor. Real person, real name, launches in an F-18 Super Hornet. He follows coordinates to a patch of ocean off San Diego. The water below is churning. Frothing. Like something large is just beneath the surface. And above it, a white object. Roughly 40 feet long. Shaped like a tic-tac. No wings. No exhaust. No markings. Fravor descends toward it. The object mirrors him. He banks left. It banks left. He descends faster. It accelerates upward. Then, in less time than it takes to blink, it's gone. The radar operator 100 miles away watching on the Princeton watches it reappear. Instantly. 60 miles away. In 0 seconds. The Navy launched a follow-up flight with an advanced infrared camera. The flare pod. They caught it on video. That video leaked in 2017. The Pentagon confirmed it was real in 2020. This case has everything. 2 radar systems. Multiple pilots. Infrared footage. 12 years of Navy silence before acknowledgement. It is the single best documented UAP encounter in American history. Marcus reads it in 40 minutes. He reads it 3 times. Part 4. The Orbs. Here's where the story gets strange. File 62 in the Pursue portal is a 2025 encounter over the Nevada desert. Military training airspace. Restricted. A recon drone is running a routine patrol when its camera picks up a cluster of orange orbs. 7 of them. Moving in formation. Then the lead orb does something the analysts flagged as priority 1. It releases smaller orbs. 4 of them. They scatter in different directions. The lead orb then accelerates straight up and disappears from the sensor envelope. The analysts watching the footage in real time are so confused they call their supervisor. Who calls her supervisor? The footage ends up on the desk of someone at Arrow, the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, within 6 hours. The official classification on the file: unresolved. Probable origin unknown. Now here's the grease case. Marcus flips to it. 2024. A Greek military radar station tracking an object moving at 80 miles per hour. Not remarkable. And then it turns 90 degrees. Instant. No arc day. No deceleration. No physics. At 80 miles per hour, a 90-degree turn like that would require G-forces that would destroy any known aircraft, any known drone, any known missile. The material would shred. The pilots would be paced. It kept flying. Part 5. What the CIA did in 1953. This is the part of the story people always miss. And it might be the most important. Marcus pulls up a declassified CIA document. The Robertson Panel report. January 1953. 14 pages. And what it says will make you look at everything differently. 5 CIA commissioned scientists reviewed the best UFO cases in the US government's files. Their conclusion was not that UFOs were alien. Their conclusion was that UFO belief itself was a national security threat. Why? Because in the event of a Soviet nuclear attack, mass UFO sightings would clog military communication channels. Soldiers would be calling in UFOs when they should be tracking missiles. So the CIA recommended a solution: a public debunking campaign. They called it psychological warfare. Using television, radio data, newspapers, education programs. The goal: make the American public stop taking UFOs seriously. And then they did it. Walt Disney was approached about making a documentary. The Air Force ran a program called Project Blue Book publicly, as a transparent investigation, while internally it was designed to close cases, not solve them. 12,618 cases investigated. 701 remained unexplained. But the official message was always, nothing to see here. Marcus sits back. This is not the revelation that aliens exist. This is the revelation that the government spent decades engineering what you believe about UFOs. That is its own kind of extraordinary. Part 6. The program that never existed. Here's the story that broke the internet in 2023. A former intelligence official named David Grush testified before Congress under oath. His claim: the United States government has recovered non-human spacecraft, has non-human biologics, which is government language for bodies, has been reverse engineering alien technology for decades in programs so classified that even members of Congress with top secret clearances can't access them. The testimony was explosive. It dominated headlines for a week. RO, the government's own investigation office, then released their historical review. And they investigated every program Grush referenced, including the most famous one, KONA BLUE. KONA BLUE is supposed to be the program. The one that had alien bodies. The one with the crashed craft. The one that explained everything. Here's what Arrow found. KONA BLUE was a proposal. It was submitted. It was reviewed. It was never approved. It was never funded. It never had a single employee. The program that half the UFO community had spent years building mythology around had never actually existed. Someone heard a rumor. The rumor spread. The rumor became legend. And the legend became one of the most cited pieces of evidence for alien contact in modern history. A program that was proposed and rejected in a budget meeting became the crown jewel of UFO conspiracy theory. Part 7. The Astronauts. Apollo 11, 1969. Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin land on the moon. What the public broadcast doesn't capture, what only comes out years later in interviews and declassified comms, is that during the descent, both astronauts report seeing objects on the crater rim. Moving. Armstrong describes them as lights. Aldrin says the word he never says on the record is the word he's thinking. Apollo 12, 4 months later. During the moonwalk, astronauts Alan Bean and Pete Conrad observe what the mission log calls anomalous surface luminescence. Flashes. Mild. Boy. I did ye. Repeating. From the same location. They photograph it. The photographs are in the National Archives. Apollo 17, 1972. The last Apollo mission. Astronaut Harrison Schmitt describes seeing what he calls a sequence of flashes from the interior of a crater that has no geologic explanation. The official explanation filed 16 years later. Static electrical discharge from the lunar module and cosmic rays impacting the astronauts' retinas. Maybe. Maybe not. What Marcus notices is that the explanation was filed 16 years later. Not during the mission. Not in the debrief. 16 years later, when it became politically relevant to have an explanation. Part 8. The numbers. Marcus is now 7 hours into the files. He makes himself a list. He is an analyst. He needs data. Arrow reviewed 757 UAP reports between 1945 and 2023. 118 were fully resolved. Here's what those 118 turned out to be. 48 balloons, 22 drones, 18 birds, 15 conventional aircraft, 9 satellites, 6 atmospheric phenomena, 0 extraterrestrial technology, 0 evidence of non-human intelligence, 0 recovered craft, 0 biologics. 639 cases remain unresolved. Not because they're alien, because there wasn't enough data to reach any conclusion. And then there's the number that makes Marcus laugh out loud. In 2023 alone, 911 UAP reports filed with Arrow were attributed to Starlink satellite trains. SpaceX had launched over 7,000 satellites into low Earth orbit. On clear nights, they appear as a perfect string of moving lights crossing the sky. Thousands of people who had never seen them before reported them as UFO fleets. A private company manufacturing a satellite internet service had accidentally manufactured the largest UFO wave in American history. Part 9. The verdict. Marcus closes his laptop. It's 3 a.m. He makes a list with 2 columns. Left column, what is just nothing. Right column, what is really something? And here's where I tell you exactly which is which. What is just nothing? The gimbal video, the one that seems to show an object rotating impossibly, is almost certainly a sensor artifact. When the F-18's flare pod rotates to track a target, the image in the viewfinder can appear to spin. The rotation is the camera, not the object. The Pentagon's own analysis supports this. The object is likely a distant aircraft or drone. Go fast. The video that looks like an impossibly fast object skimming the ocean is a parallax illusion. The aircraft filming it is moving fast at altitude. The object is actually much lower and much slower than it appears. The apparent hypersonic speed is created by zoom and the camera angle. Independent analysts who did the math came up with a speed of about 40 miles per hour. Not alien. Not even impressive. KONA BLUE never existed. A budget proposal that was rejected. If you have spent any time believing in KONA BLUE, you were the victim of a rumor that became a myth. The Roswell crash. I know. But it was Project Mogul, a classified high-altitude balloon program designed to detect Soviet nuclear tests. The debris matches the materials used in those balloons. The alien body story started a month after the crash and has never been corroborated by a single piece of physical evidence. The Air Force released 2 full reports on this in the 1990s. 911 UFO reports in 2023. IT. Starlink satellites. Every single one. They looked incredible. They were broadband internet from space. What is really something? The Nimitz encounter. Commander Frava saw a real object. The Princeton's radar tracked real objects for 2 weeks. The flare footage is real. The Navy confirmed it. After 13 years of silence, they confirmed it. Whatever was out there off San Diego in 2004 does not have a complete explanation. A drone explanation has not been definitively ruled in. Whatever it was, it performed maneuvers that no known technology can replicate. The orbs that launch orbs. The 2025 Nevada footage in the Pursue portal. An object that deploys sub-objects and then disappears vertically at a rate no known aircraft can achieve. Unresolved. No mundane explanation has been offered. The Greece incident. A 90-degree turn at 80 miles per hour with no deceleration. There is no drone, no aircraft, no known technology that can do this. Genuinely unexplained. The Robertson Panel. This one is not a mystery. This one is documented fact. The CIA ran a psychological warfare campaign to reduce public belief in UFOs. That is not a conspiracy theory. That is a declassified document you can read right now. They engineered your skepticism. Whether that was about hiding aliens or hiding surveillance programs or just protecting military communications is still debated. But the campaign happened. National Archives Record Group 615. The National Archives doesn't create record groups for things that don't matter. They have RJ 107 for the War Department, RJ 263 for the CIA, and now RG 615 for UAP material. That institutional recognition means the government has decided this category of information has permanent historical significance. That is not nothing. The pattern of acknowledgement. The Navy releasing flare footage. The Pentagon confirming it. Arrow existing at all. The Pursue portal. None of this was happening in 2015. Something changed. What changed is that too many credible people with security clearances started reporting too many encounters to keep dismissing. The question of what they're encountering remains open, but that they're encountering something that is no longer seriously disputed. The honest answer. Here's what Marcus writes at the bottom of his list. The cover-up is real, but it's not covering up aliens. It's covering up how much the government doesn't know. It's covering up surveillance programs and classified aircraft and 70 years of managed public perception. When they say unexplained, they often mean we know what it is, and we're not telling you. When they say unknown, they sometimes mean we genuinely have no idea. The truth is somewhere between the believers and the debunkers. More interesting than a weather balloon. Less dramatic than a crashed alien spacecraft. Something is in our skies. Some of it is ours. Some of it is theirs. And a small fraction, a genuinely small fraction, is neither. That fraction is what the government is actually worried about. Not because it's definitely alien, but because in 70 years of trying, they haven't been able to explain it. And they really, really don't like things they can't explain. Marcus closes the file. He opens a new document. Starts typing. Report number 163. Hey. Thanks for watching. If you want to go read the actual files yourself, it's war.gov/UFO. The Robertson Panel document is on the CIA's own website under the CREST database. The Arrow Historical Review is free. The National Archives RG 615 inventory is public. Everything I told you tonight, real or dramatized, points back to documents you can verify yourself. That's the whole point. I'm 42. See you next time.